The story begins with two people carrying a coffin, called Ashaf and a girl named Gudo, getting off a train. They seem sad and are looking for a special sorceress. They ask the first girl they meet if she knows about such powers or has seen the sorceress. Guido seems impatient and Ashaf apologizes for her behavior, explaining that she gets too excited about magic. They do not know what the sorceress looks like, but luckily they meet a girl named Marie who knows about her. Marie says it is not just luck that they found her, as everyone knows about the witch they are looking for. Suddenly, a monstrous entity wreaks havoc outside, shattering all the glass. Ashaf and Guido suspect a powerful magic user's involvement, believing it to be the witch they seek. However, Marie refutes their assumption, asserting that their target is not responsible. In the streets, the witch defeats the monster with a potent spell, earning praise as a hero. This surprises Ashaf, considering her use of magic, while Marie, her apprentice, gleefully organizes a meeting for Ashaf and Guido. Ashaf cautions against impulsiveness, but Guido disappears nonetheless. Marie meets Lone, anticipating their plans. Meanwhile, a man with shark-like features is displeased with the adulation Lone receives. Guido attacks Lone, halted only by Lone's intervention. Gudo accuses Lone of forgetting her, but Lone denies it. Ashaf intervenes, urging Gudo to trust him, but the crowd becomes hostile. Using magic, Ashaf escapes with Gudo. Later, they discover the history of a past curse and find themselves at Lone's castle, guided by information Ashaf acquired from a pamphlet. Guido distrusts witches, but Lone appears different. Marie welcomes celebrating women, annoying Guido. Guido's insults confuse Marie. Ashaf cautions against blind trust, noting shady details about a supposed curse. Marie grows impatient, but Ashaf urges further investigation. He discovers unsettling truths about the past. Reluctantly, he agrees to Guido's plan to continue. They encounter police under Lady Witch's control, confirming Lone's malevolence. Ashaf causes chaos with crows, but they face police resistance. Guido plans to confront Lone, but awakens without hands and feet. Lone confesses to turning them into tools for an evil plan, igniting a city-consuming fire. Lone shocks Marie by revealing her falsely accused grandmother's connection. The fire's anniversary marks its resurgence. Ashaf impresses Lone but warns against trusting witches. Guido attempts to stop Lone, but Ashaf suggests an alternative. Guido kisses a witch. Dark energy transforms Guido into a powerful creature who defeats Lone. Ashaf explains their mission to restore order. Guido's triumph ends the fire, prompting them to find their true target. Marie and others return to normal, reflecting on their mission. With their task complete, they depart as the city improves. A woman walking home alone is attacked by an unseen assailant. Meanwhile, our main group is tasked with capturing a magical creature by a collector. Ashaf handles the task alone, impressing with his magic skills. Despite Gudo's reluctance to fight a normal creature, Ashaf succeeds in capturing it. After the job, they plan to celebrate, but Guido is unhappy, wanting to find witches. Ashaf reminds her of their duties and warns against insubordination. They receive a message from the Order for their next job. At the next job, Guido mistakes their client for a witch, but she is not. Ashaf easily opens a chest for their client, while Guido is annoyed by the lack of witches involved. Ashaf emphasizes the importance of taking non-witch cases seriously, and Guido reluctantly agrees. Once Guido's curse is lifted, she vows revenge, eagerly awaited by Ashaf. Not encountering witches for a month suggests the curse's duration. They receive a job via a black envelope, hinting at witches causing havoc in a distant city. Ashaf withholds part of the letter, indicating a challenging task involving a witch and a magic book. Guido, unaware of the full details, is excited about the job. Meanwhile, Detective Miss Haynes plans to apprehend a witch responsible for gruesome killings, feeling the weight of responsibility as the sole mage in the city. Ashaf and Guido, posing as the Order, offer assistance, albeit met with suspicion from Haynes, who ultimately agrees to collaborate after obtaining the mayor's permission. Ashaf emphasizes the need for urgency, as the paladin corps will soon intervene. He suspects the mayor of delaying to take credit for resolving the issue. Despite Haynes's authority as the city's sole mage, Ashaf questions if she is merely following the mayor's orders. Guido grows impatient, urging haste in solving the case while Haynes cautions against meddling with dangerous witches. Ashaf attempts to diffuse the tension, but Haynes remains steadfast. They agree to talk in private using a spell Haynes made that can tell if someone is lying. Ashaf and Guido tell Haynes about their mission to lift a curse put on Gudo by a witch, but they do not have much to go on. Guido wants revenge, which makes Haynes realize they have personal reasons for wanting to help. Haynes trusts them because they are trying to do something good, so she admits she made up the truth-telling spell, which makes Guido mad. But she agrees to let them help, and plans to meet again the next morning. While they are making plans, the witch hunts someone else and laughs crazily. The bad witch leaves mysterious messages, including one revealing her identity as witch. The police dismiss the messages as insignificant until Detective Haynes discovers they are from a book. They investigate a bookstore linked to the book, finding a dead body with magical wounds. Haynes believes the witch's messages are part of a dangerous game. Ashaf advises Haynes to rest, but she fears getting too close. Another death occurs with a message about a witch's curse. Guido warns Ashaf of impending danger, but they return to an explosion at the hotel. Ashaf scolds Guido for her impulsiveness as a mysterious person appears. They inform Haynes of the incident, and Ashaf suspects the witch targeted her. Ashaf asks Haynes about the witch's possible motives to attract the paladin's attention. Guido contemplates how she would lure the paladins if she were the witch. The witch targets Ashaf and Guido instead of Haynes, leading to Haynes sharing her past trauma. Her house burned down, hinting at the witch's involvement. Gudo encourages revenge, while Ashaf worries. Another message announces the witch's imminent arrival at the station. Haynes wonders if they can handle her, but Guido is confident. Ashaf keeps a secret about a bag from Haynes. They discuss breaking the curse and confronting the witch. Ashaf warns of the witch's powers and urges caution. When the witch appears, Ashaf reveals he has already located her. Ashaf explains that the sudden increase in crows indicates they can locate the witch. They track her down, but she injures a policeman before Guido's attempt to ambush her is thwarted by someone else. Ashaf reprimands Guido for her impulsive actions. To everyone's surprise, two individuals revealed to be Haynes's sons are identified as non-witches. They admit to deriving power from Sorceress Grimoire, a malevolent book that necessitates immoral acts to sustain their abilities. Despite their pleas and accusations against Haynes, Ashaf and Guido easily disarm them. Haynes confronts her sons, recalling their betrayal of their mentor, Reuben. Refusing to forgive them, she ends their lives, recognizing their corrupted nature. Guido blames Ashaf for their predicament, but he clarifies that it was the Order's decision. Haynes expresses gratitude, and Ashaf decides to confiscate the dangerous books, although aware of their perilous nature. Haynes accepts the books. As they depart, Ashaf advises Haynes to seek assistance if another witch poses a threat, offering her solace. After completing a job, Ashaf and Gudo encounter a crazed undead being chased by the police. Ashaf explains that the undead are brought back with magic but must be cared for, or they lose their minds. The Order of Magical Resonance specializes in this, with experts like Johann and Fenora. Officer Jeff reports increasing attacks by crazed undead. Fenora explains the rules for bringing back the dead, including family permission and awareness of risks. Meanwhile, a woman is offered help to revive a loved one despite her inability to pay. Fenora discovers 4 individuals are reviving 21 undead against standard practices. Jeff empathizes with the desire to reunite with loved ones, but worries about the consequences. Johann advises Jeff not to call the undead creatures, as Fenora dislikes it. Fenora demonstrates a lantern attracting crazed undead, reminding Jeff of his decision not to revive his fiancée, fearing she would return as a monster. They prepare for battle against over 40 undead, drawing them with the lantern, although Johann struggles. After defeating them, they notice missing body parts, suggesting poor revival methods. Different revival methods offer varying control, with the lantern attracting those with cognitive ability. Jeff is angered by their exploitation and opposes bringing back the dead. He observes most undead are red-haired women, worrying they may be revived too. Johann explains they disposed of the bodies, but their souls remain tethered, leaving room for resurrection if cared for. Suddenly, one of the undead grabs Fenora, so Johann kills it quickly. Johann says sorry for missing one, realizing they were being watched. They follow the undead's trail to a big house in the woods. Johann gets attacked, so Jeff shoots at the person. A woman welcomes them, but her voice is actually a man's. Even though Jeff wants to leave, the person who brought back the dead convinces them to stay, saying he won't hurt the woman. Jeff is shocked when the person knows his name and shows him his fiancée. To make Jeff do what he wants, he threatens Fenora and says he will bring back Johann if they help him. In a memory, a doctor plans to bring his loved one back to life after a fire. Johann's body is taken away and Jeff sees Fenora's concern for him. They meet the person who revived Johann, apologizing when their assistant collapses due to loss of control. The large house is filled with undead helpers, indicating multiple people are reviving them. Fenora believes the reviver does not do a good job, requiring less magic. The reviver acknowledges the difficulty of bringing the undead back and their suffering. Normally, souls prepare for reincarnation after death, but revival disrupts this process, trapping them in the void upon death again. The reviver cares only about appearance and lost someone too, unable to recognize their burnt body. They seek someone with intact features to create new creatures. Jeff is surprised by their motive, but the reviver believes everyone prioritizes differently. Despite their abilities, the reviver wants Fenora captured for following rules, not aiding them. Feeling the cold, Fenora reveals she is not just a necromancer, but also a witch, surprising the person. He threatens Johann to manipulate Fenora, but she dismisses Johann as worthless. Fenora warns against using his undead, explaining they lack intelligence and are destined for a bleak fate. She challenges the Death Knights, urging them not to harm Jeff. With Johann's unexpected arrival, the person is startled. Johann discloses his undead status created by a witch and demonstrates his unique healing ability. Despite the person's plea, Johann chooses punishment over execution, joined by Johann and Fenora in administering it. Fenora shoots the person to prevent his resurrection as undead and plans to restore his creations to normalcy. Though morally ambiguous, Jeff finds solace in the prospect of reuniting with his fiancée and understands Fenora's drive to safeguard others. Gudo wakes up hungry, and Ashaf reminds her of their mission to find a witch. They head to a different continent where the paladin corps might interfere. The city is being evacuated due to the witch threat. Ashaf devises a plan to pass through security by claiming a visit to his grandma. They knock out a guard but refrain from killing. Commander Kugat is reprimanded for seeking the witch alone. Ashaf explains the Paladin Corps' fortress and the city's barriers. They plan a covert entry. Ashaf praises Guido's partnership, but she urges haste. Suddenly, they encounter a man whom Guido identifies as the witch. Inside, the witch expresses fear of dying alone. Guido confronts the witch in battle, while Ashaf advises keeping her occupied. Ashaf weakens the witch and traps her in a bubble, confirming her identity despite Guido's doubts. Inside the castle, an emissary warns of Helga's danger due to her connection with the powerful sorceress Quina. Helga breaks free, wielding the demon sword Ashgan. Ashaf battles Helga, pondering the sword's strength compared to Gudo's. As they engage, Ashaf insists they only want to help Helga escape the Paladin Corps. Despite the demon sword's suggestion, Helga refuses assistance. Ashaf recalls Helga's ancestors hiding the sword, implying her reasons for revealing it now. Helga hesitates to harm them, prompting Ashaf to protect them with a barrier. He urges Helga to join them, but she leaves, thanking them strangely. Ashaf realizes Helga is not their target and plans to ensure her safety. Meanwhile, Kugat arrives, prompting Guido to intervene, vowing to handle him herself. Guido knocks someone out and Ashaf calls her over, showing her a bone. She does not recognize it after he breaks it, and Ashaf accuses her of only caring about witches. This group trusts one person, not many like regular armies. The leader of the Third Continent plan is Matt Kugat, who has witch-like powers. Gudo senses him and stops his ice attacks. Helga steps in to help, and Gudo tells her to run while she fights. Kugat targets Helga, calling her the demon sword. Gudo tries to distract him but gets thrown into a wall with ice. Kugat freezes her, but she denies being a witch. Helga sees a big block of ice falling, and Gudo suggests they meet Ashaf. As they leave, a storm approaches, and Helga worries about the city getting frozen. They fly with the sword, colliding with a bigger storm. Helga says the weather in Pantved is nice. Later, she finds out everyone she met last night is dead, but the sword does not know why. They are both trapped in ice. The sword teaches Helga to use it. Kugat orders to freeze them in armor. Crows gather. Ashaf wants them and the sword. Ice walls are built. Ashaf starts to freeze. Helga frees herself with the sword. She can't get it back from the Seekers. The sword's magic makes everyone fight. Helga thinks the sword's strong despite protecting them. The sword is surprised that someone can resist its magic. Helga notices the Seekers and realizes they are not regular people. The sorcerer attacks them with the Seekers' help. Kugat wonders if someone is trying to trap Helga. Ashaf knows about their tricks and plans to fight back. Lowell attacks Helga and is surprised that she is weak against heat. Helga worries about how to escape. The sorcerer observes Gudo's actions, impressed by her cleverness. He then takes control of Gudo and interrogates her about her identity. Helga intervenes, but the sorcerer recognizes her presence. The demon blade urges Helga to use it to escape, but she sees through the sorcerer's intentions. Despite feeling hopeless, Helga resolves to fulfill her duty of protecting the world with the demon's blade. Gudo breaks Helga's armor, hits her, and carries her away. Meanwhile, the sorcerer threatens to control both Gudo and the demon blade. Helga releases Gudo and tells her to leave and protect the demon's blade. The sorcerer asserts his dominance, claiming control over the headquarters and the sorceress. Helga begins to lose hope, feeling abandoned and powerless. Gudo falls from the fortress clutching the demon sword. The sword insists she return, needing Helga to unlock its seal. But Gudo refuses, determined to find Ashaf. She lands in ice, saved by Kugat before his fall. Upon awakening, Kugat scolds Gudo for taking the demon sword. Ashaf heals Kugat, who questions their abandonment. Ashaf confirms, cautioning Kugat about his elemental powers. Gudo reveals the leader's control over Kugat's troops, leading to their demise. Ashaf warns Kugat of the leader's pursuit for the demon sword. Kugat suggests hiding it. As everyone gathers, Kugat realizes the leader's use of demon hand Ishlingen to control minds, despite failing to control Gudo. He uncovers the leader's dark deeds, including mutilating his soldiers. After a sword explosion, Ashaf tells Gudo to take Helga and run. Gudo agrees, urging swift action. But as Gudo moves, Helga surprises her by summoning a sword with a spell and striking her. Shots are fired at Ashaf, narrowly missed with Kugat's help. Yet, one of Kugat's soldiers turns against him, and the leader admits to lying. Helga takes the demon sword from Gudo and approaches the leader. Impressed, he praises her, and she constructs a staircase with her sword to reach him, offering him the sword. Ashaf and Kugat try to stop him, but he unsheathes the demon sword, needing Helga to unlock its power. However, the place where they stored the demon sword is destroyed. The leader fatally stabs Helga in the heart, throwing her away, and Ashaf catches her. Flashbacks show Helga's past, where she holds the demon sword while her mother scolds her. Joseph shows dislike towards Helga, and her sister reminds her to protect the demon sword. Several days later, chaos erupts outside Helga's home. Rushing out, she finds her house in flames, her mother fighting her sisters under the leader's orchestration, leaving Helga frightened. Her unaffected sister advises her to take the demon sword and escape. As she leaves, her sister suffers at the leader's hands. Ashgan emerges, causing destruction, shocking Kugat and Ashaf. The demon sword appears in its full power. The leader commands it to kill Kugat, but it ignores him, leading him to try to control it himself. The demon sword wreaks havoc, and the leader realizes his mistake. Kugat shields himself with magic, but the leader demands more sacrifices. Meanwhile, Helga blames herself for breaking the seal. Kugat fiercely battles Ashgan. Helga considers revenge, but feels unsure. Ashaf's question embarrasses her. Gudo arrives, initiating a kiss with Helga, sealing their affection. Meanwhile, the grand door begins to shake. Helga feels embarrassed when she thinks Ashaf is about to kiss her, but it's Gudo who surprises her with a kiss. Gudo's spirit leaves, leaving Helga still locked in the kiss with her lifeless body. Kugat sees Gudo's spirit depart, but then returns to her body shortly after. Then the ground trembles, and Helga senses something significant has occurred. Gudo emerges from her coffin in her beastly form, startling Helga. Kugat notices Gudo's arrival and is impressed by the mysterious newcomer who even stops the demon sword. Gudo confidently breaks the ice barrier and fearlessly plunges into battle, regardless of her opponent. Meanwhile, the executioner, initially leaving, halts when his hand begins to shake. The scene shifts again, showing Gudo standing boldly before the demon sword. Helga remains perplexed about Gudo's identity and origins. Ashaf instructs Gudo to capture the demon sword alive, informing Helga of Gudo's impending clash. Ashgan strikes hard, but Gudo adeptly defends, surprising Helga. Kugat observes and his elemental targets Gudo with sharp ice crystals, seeing her as a major threat. Ashgan launches another assault, but Gudo counters with powerful punches. Witnessing this, Kugat joins in, attacking with ice to no avail. Attempting to strike Gudo with a massive ice crystal, Kugat's effort fails as Gudo effortlessly redirects it. Meanwhile, the demon sword continues its relentless attack. Undeterred, Kugat summons 3 colossal ice jets. Although the demon sword destroys them, Gudo seizes the opportunity to hurl another crystal, striking Ashgan. Kugat erects a massive ice barrier, but Ashgan slices through it easily, causing a monumental shockwave. Reacting swiftly, Kugat positions himself in front of the attack, getting hit and causing a massive explosion that defeats Ashgan. Gudo continues her relentless assault, delivering a final punch that propels the demon sword into the sky. In the chaos, Ashgan recalls being tricked by Quine Velvet, trapped in a small blade. Now, Ashgan wonders if anyone, especially Gudo, can thwart her so easily. After observing Ashgan, the scene shifts to the green magic trapped within it, causing concern among everyone present. The executioner seeks help, claiming monsters are after him, but Gudo exposes his deceit by cleverly targeting his controlling hand with a stone. Ashaf shares information and Gudo throws another stone, breaking his other hand. Screaming in pain, the executioner admits to trying to steal Ashgan, leading to his attack on their base. While his companions plead for mercy, Gudo expresses her commitment to saving lives even if it means punishing wrongdoers. Helga empathizes with this sentiment, but regrets losing her own power, which was channeled into the demon sword's shield. With Gudo gravely injured, the shield is no longer necessary. Ashaf informs Helga that Gudo has only used her left hand 25 times. As Helga contemplates the future use of the demon sword, Gudo's condition remains uncertain. We see Ashaf and Helga walking down a hallway. Ashaf uses a mirror to check a wall, finding a gate. Helga asks about the gate, feeling worried about the magical resonance headquarters. Ashaf agrees, saying that people who do not know about it usually are not allowed in, but this passage is safe. He tells Gudo to wait outside, promising to come back quickly. Gudo is impatient, saying the situation is urgent. They go in, and Ashaf tells Helga that Gudo can't come in because she refused a contract, but she'll do what Ashaf says to complete her mission. Outside, Gudo talks to some kids about witches and gets them to show her a place. She goes into a house acting aggressive until a lady falls, showing she is not a witch. Attacked by animals, Gudo gets some medicine from the lady, proving she is not a witch. Meanwhile, Ashaf and Helga get a room from a lady at a counter. Ashaf reads a letter and leaves briefly. In the kitchen, the lady shows magical cooking skills. A man makes kids disappear with his clothes, making Gudo think he is an executioner. He asks Gudo about his brother and a forbidden item, and then controls her. Another girl talks to Gudo. Meanwhile, Ashaf tells Helga he's going to find a witch in the city. The executioner's watch stops working. Gudo faces Angela while the executioner thinks they might be dangerous. Ashaf uses crows to find Gudo. Things are worse this time because when Ashaf treated Gudo before, he hurt her so she could not cause trouble. She cannot escape now. Helga tries to comfort her. Later, Angela approaches Gudo, wanting to meet her. Gudo tells her to stay away. Angela removes something from Gudo's neck and kisses her. Gudo kisses back, but Angela stops, saying it is not the right time, and tells Gudo to follow her. Guido tries to hit her but cannot break a shield. Ashaf and Helga find Guido lying down. They think Angela did it, realizing Guido picked a tough opponent. Later, Ashaf tries to help Guido by making food, but they end up fighting, and Guido hurts Ashaf. He realizes how important she is to him and remembers their first meeting 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Ashaf rides a train, pondering the lack of magic in the Fifth Continent village. A child asks about a coffin nearby, sparking conversation. Ashaf disembarks, noting the increasing attention to such remarks. Meanwhile, a boy and girl discuss the mayor. On the platform, Gudo carries her coffin, catching Ashaf's eye. Nearby, the discussion turns to accusations against the mayor. Ashaf intervenes, engaging with the group. The boy defends his sister against witchcraft allegations. Ashaf advises them to return home. He converses with the Lady Witch, offering assistance. Gudo encounters 2 men, reacting swiftly to their touch. She engages in a confrontation, prompting Ashaf's intervention. Guido's power breaks his shield. Ashaf redirects the conversation, getting tea with Owent, who explains his sister's silence. Ashaf performs a magic trick, calming Gudo and explaining magic's diverse nature. Since Gudo cannot speak, she cannot cast spells either. Ashaf tells Gudo that Falvel is on the side of the mystic witch, meaning the witch who cursed her might be with them too. Gudo disagrees, saying different families do not mean anything. She thinks there might be another person doing magic. Ashaf says since Guido cannot do magic, someone else must be doing it. Owent defends Craig and his dad, saying they have helped a lot and protect them like the mayor does. Ashaf promises to protect them and says he's from the magical organization Order of Magical Resonance. He asks for help from the Lady Witch. Meanwhile, Craig is at home, where his dad keeps praising Falwell's tea. Craig wants more of it. Elsewhere, Owen tells his sister he does not trust Ashaf. At the same time, Gudo tells Ashaf that without a magical witch, they cannot do anything. Ashaf suggests that something evil left a mark on her. He thinks there might be a similar mark on Falvel, and that maybe the reason Falvel's family cannot speak is because of a curse from the same witch. Guido does not like the idea and thinks things are getting worse. There are reports of a monster attacking the mayor's house. Meanwhile, a strong hunter heads to Falvel's house. Craig gets ready with his mask. Inside Falvel's house, the other executioner waits. We see Ashaf in a very difficult situation. Then Gudo comes to him and talks. She asks how to remove the spell put on by the witch. Ashaf says he can tell her, but she has to do something for him first. He explains that scaring people alone won't achieve some goals. She needs to learn to give orders. Gudo puts her foot on his chest and scares him. He says there is a way to lift the curse, but she has to save Falvel. To break her curse, she must get help from Falvel. Meanwhile, at Falvel's house, there is a big fire. Some people are attacking Owent. Craig comes there. The executioner says he is late. Tears come from Falvel's eyes. The executioner tells people to catch her because she cannot do magic. The executioner says Owent told him before he died why she could not use her powers, blaming it all on a witch's curse. Now, looking at her tongue, the executioner finds a real witch's mark. He thought she was hiding her powers, but she's not, and breaking the witch's curse won't work. The executioner takes off his mask, and they agree not to kill her. Guido intervenes, preventing the executioner from reaching Falvel with her coffin. Enraged, the executioner ignites Guido and pushes her aside. Ashaf arrives, acknowledging their dire situation without magic. Guido, recalling Ashaf's counsel, vows revenge. As Falvel embraces Guido, the coffin lid opens and Ashaf's condition worsens, halting the executioner. Guido strikes the executioner, who retaliates with his powers. Falvel commands the people to halt, freezing them in place, and extinguishes the fire. Now both Gudo and Falvel are free from the curse, unleashing their powers fully. The next day we see them again, and Owent is surprised because Falvel's magic has completely healed him in just one day. Ashaf says Falvel is still very young. As she grows up, she might even be able to bring dead people back to life. Gudo asks him to remove his spell first. Then, we see them getting ready to go somewhere. Ashaf describes the world as having 8 parts, each with varying levels of magic. The first part is grand with a large church, while the 8th part boasts advanced magic and luxury. Special places like the 7th and 8th parts are connected by a large hole where people, especially the wealthy, gather for parties. The Order facilitates their journey through this hole, which serves as a portal to another world. They opt for level 4 out of the 17 available, where they are advised of its dangers and change into appropriate attire. Equipped with clothes for middle and upper-class individuals, they embark on their adventure into the vampire world on level 4, which is known as Orlencia Set, and the story ends here.